All right, let's get right into it. If you're in the short-term rental game in Japan, you know it's a whole different world. And the absolute key to not just surviving, but actually thriving, it all comes down to one critical partnership. We're going to break down how the on-the-ground manager and the property management company, the PMC, have to work together to master Japan's Minpaku law. So, you're managing a rental in Japan, right? Or maybe you're just kicking the tires on the idea. Either way, I'm sure you've heard the stories. The rules there are, well, they're intense. This isn't about fluffing pillows and leaving a welcome note. Nope. It's about dotting every I and crossing every T when it comes to compliance. And listen, the stakes are incredibly high. We're talking about a legal framework where one tiny slip-up, one missed report, one piece of missing guest data can literally get your business shut down. Fines, suspension, your listing vanishing from booking sites overnight. There is zero room for oops. So where does all this come from? It's all thanks to something called the Private Lodging Business Act, which pretty much everyone just calls the Minpaku law. It came into effect back in 2018. The whole point was to take the wild west of home sharing and make it legal and regulated. And they did that by creating a super clear and super strict rulebook. So with all these rules, how on earth do you manage? Well, it all comes down to what I like to call the compliance power duo. You've got your manager on the ground and you've got your licensed property management company, your PMC. Seriously, this partnership, it's the foundation of everything. And here's the real secret to making it work. It's not about being a lawyer and knowing every single rule by heart. The real key is the seamless handoff of data. Think about it. Information has to flow perfectly from the front lines, the person checking guests in, all the way to the PMC that's filing the official paperwork. That flow has to be flawless. And they each have very distinct roles, but they share the exact same goal. You can see it here. The manager is on the ground. They're the ones verifying who the guests are, collecting all that paperwork, and just keeping an eye on the day-to-day. Then you have the PMC. They're like the legal umbrella. They take all that data the manager collects and handle the government reporting, the data storage, basically all the official stuff. Different jobs, one mission: stay compliant. All right, next up, guest data, from check-in all the way to the archive. This is that first critical handoff we talked about, and honestly, this is where it all starts. Guest data is pillar number one, and trust me, it is absolutely non-negotiable under Japanese law. So let's walk through the workflow. First, your manager has to verify every single guest at check-in. No exceptions. Step 2, they collect all the required data. And for foreigners, that means a passport copy. Then, and this is key, they have to securely transfer all that info over to the PMC. Finally, the PMC takes that guest registry and locks it away in an archive for 3 years, just like the law says. Every single step here has to be perfect. And when it comes to foreign guests, the checklist gets even longer. It's not just what's your name and address. Oh no. You need their full name, address, occupation, nationality, and passport number. And on top of all that, you need a high-resolution copy of their passport. Every single item, for every single guest. No shortcuts. Okay, on to our next section, beating the 180-day clock. This is the annual limit that really defines your whole business strategy. And when I say limit, I mean a hard, non-negotiable stop that completely shapes how you operate. 180, that's the number. That is the absolute maximum number of days you can rent out your property in a single fiscal year. And remember, in Japan, that fiscal year runs from April 1st all the way to March 31st. Every single night a guest stays counts towards that 180. And don't think you can sneak by. The consequences are real, and they're often automated. Look at this quote directly from Airbnb's Help Center. When we notice that your listing has exceeded 180 nights, your listing will be delisted. Bam! No warnings, no second chances. The system catches you, and you're gone. It's that simple. And this is exactly why that manager-PMC partnership is so crucial. Your manager is looking at the booking calendar day to day, but the PMC is the one keeping the official count for the government. They have to be talking to each other constantly. It's the only way to make sure you don't accidentally step over that 180-day line. All right, last big pillar here. Let's talk about mastering the bi-monthly reports. Think of this as the regular heartbeat of Minpaku compliance. This isn't something you do at the end of the year. No, this is a constant, steady rhythm of reporting that never stops. Every 2 months, that's 6 times a year, like clockwork, a mandatory report has to go to the prefectural governor. The PMC is officially responsible for sending it, but here's the catch. They can't do it alone. They are completely dependent on the manager for the data from the past 2 months of operations. And as you can see from this schedule, the deadlines are rock solid. For the December-January period, it's due February 15th. For February-March, it's April 15th, and so on and so on. It's a relentless cycle, and you absolutely cannot miss one. The penalties for being late are no joke.
So what's on the manager's reporting checklist for the PMC? It's pretty straightforward, really. 3 key things. 1, the total number of days the property was rented out. 2, the total number of guests who stayed. And 3, a breakdown of how many of those guests came from which country. That's the info the PMC needs to do their job right.
Okay, let's land the plane here. The compliance bottom line. Why this partnership is absolutely non-negotiable for success. Look, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that you cannot do this alone. Mastering the Minpaku law is 100% a team sport. It really comes down to a fork in the road, right? On one path, you have smooth handoffs. Your data flows, you're legally compliant, your business is thriving, and hey, you can actually sleep at night. But then there's the other path, the one with data silos, where communication breaks down, and that path leads straight to the risk of getting delisted, hit with fines, maybe even suspended. You're just constantly exposed. So, you gotta ask yourself a serious question. Look at your own operation. Is your workflow built for compliance? Is that manager-PMC partnership solid as a rock? Or is it leaving your business exposed? Are there little cracks in the system just waiting to cause a big problem?